Hey everyone, it's Carrie and welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I thought I would do kind of like a card design using just strictly sentiments and doing some ink blending over them. I want to do like a distressed resist type technique today. And I thought I wanted to kind of challenge myself to just use these sentiments out of the stamp set here from Someone Says Stamp. This is the Greeting Mix 1 stamp set. And there's a lot of encouraging sentiments in here. And I thought it would be cool to kind of build like a background using some of these sentiments. And then heat embossing them. And then doing some ink blending over them for a embossed resist. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of pick out the sentiments that I want, and then we'll get started with doing the stamping and ink blending. Okay, so I have got my card here on my mini MISTI, and I have arranged the sentiments that I want to use on that card. And I'm going to go ahead and just pick up these sentiments with my MISTI door. This will help too in stamping in case that I don't get a really great impression with some of these stamps. Of course, we have a guest too. My Gracie Grace. I'm going to say hi to everybody, Gracie. You make an appearance but you don't say anything. Come on here. You want to come over here? Come over here. Look up here. I was trying to see if I could get her to look up at everybody, but she's only going to do what she wants to do, but of course. So I'm going to go ahead and use my anti-static powder tool here, since I am going to be doing some embossing. So make sure I get that really well and powdered. And I'm going to go ahead and get my Versamark ink out and stamp down all over my stamps here, making sure that I get really great coverage. Now, of course, majority of these stamps, except for I believe one of these sentiments, I have used before. The rest of them are brand new and I've never used them, so I may need to restamp just to be on the safe side with the inking. I'm going to go ahead and try that out and see how everything goes. And I know you guys won't be able to see it on the video because I am stamping white on white here, or clear on white if you will. So I'm just going to make sure I really get a really good impression the first time as much as I can. And just for a safe measure, I'm going to go ahead and ink this up a second time. Make sure my cardstock's right in the middle there. My favorite white embossing powder is the Brutus Monroe Alabaster. It has really great coverage to it, as well as it melts really well. So make sure that's all good and covered. Do y'all have a favorite white embossing powder? What is your go-to? Mine used to be the Hero Arts white, and I still do like that one, but ever since I discovered this one from Brutus Monroe, I really haven't gone back to anything else. So make sure I really tap off the excess here and make sure I get a really great impression on, or make sure the powder is really great, good and covered onto my card here. I think that is good to go. So I'm going to go ahead and, you all kind of see that, emboss this off camera, and I'll be right back. Okay, so now that that is all good and embossed, I don't know if y'all can see that at all, but I'm going to go ahead and put down just a scratch piece of printer paper here. And I do have a glass mat, but honestly I'm not in the mood of dragging it up here on my desk. So I'm just going to put down this piece of paper. It'll work just as fine or just as good. And once I do get all of my inking done, I am going to trim this down with a rectangle die for a good finished edge. But first I'm going to do my ink blending. Now I thought maybe I would go maybe this direction for something different. I really wanted to, let me tell you the colors that I'm going to be using. I'm actually using Distress inks today. So I've got Wild Honey. I believe this is Peacock Feathers. Yeah, Peacock Feathers. Wilted Violet. I almost said Wild Wisteria. I don't know where I got that at. Wilted Violet, and then Blueprint Sketch. So let's see how this turns out, you guys. I don't know if I mentioned it in the beginning of the video, but my favorite go-to technique, my favorite technique of all time since I've been card making, is the Distress Embossed Resist. I absolutely love it. It's my favorite. I think it's just so much fun because it's got a couple of different techniques in it in one. And one of those is actually heat embossing, which is what one of your basic techniques. And I just love to watch embossing powder emboss or melt. So I think it's fun, and just to see that it resists, that embossing resists ink, I think it's really awesome. So let's go ahead and ink up this panel and see how this turns out.
Wow.
I think that's good. So I'm going to close up my ink pads here. And then I'm going to make sure that I kind of buff away the excess ink that's left on my embossing. And then you can't necessarily have a distressed panel without adding a little bit of water. So I'm going to add just a little bit of water here for that extra distressed look here. I like to kind of flick it with my fingers a little bit. I don't want to put too much water because I am working on with just regular cardstock, but you get the idea. So I'm going to let that sit just for a few minutes. Kind of dot that up, and the longer that it dries, the better it's going to look. So I'm going to go ahead and let this dry, and then I'm going to go ahead and cut it down with a rectangle die, and I'll be back to finish up my card. Okay, my panel is all dry now. So you can see all that embossing and beautiful distressed color there. So now all I'm going to do is just mount this to a black card base, because I thought that I always like to have bright colors mounted onto a black card base. So I've just got an A2 size card here. Usually I do top fold, but I'm going to do landscape today, and I'm going to get this all lined up and good and scored. Press that down with my bone folder there. Okay, and it's going to leave a very thin black border all the way around. So I'm going to go ahead and get some glue on here. And just mount this to my card. And the beauty of having liquid glue is that you can kind of wiggle it around as much as you need to. And then we're all finished. Super basic card, but I thought it was fun to create a background using just sentiments today and do my favorite inking technique, which is the Embossed Resist. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I appreciate you coming by and watching today. All the supplies I've used are listed and linked below before you. And if you have any questions, go ahead and leave them in the comments below. Otherwise, I will catch y'all in the next video. Thanks for watching.